Hi, friends of New Creation. It's Rebecca, and today's the first Sunday of Advent. It's my favorite time of year. During Advent, we focus on the Holy Family. We think about Jesus's birth and what it was like to prepare for that birth, what it was like for his mother when she was pregnant, and what it was like when he was a baby. I really like this time of year. During the next few children's times, we're going to focus on the members of the Holy Family, on Jesus's family when he was a baby, and what it was like for them to when Mary was pregnant and when Jesus was a baby. The time of year that we do this is called Advent. You might remember that Advent is a time when we're waiting for Jesus's birth, just like Mary and Joseph, his mother and his father had to wait for him to be born. It was exciting for them. Sometimes we mark the days of Advent. We count down to Christmas with an Advent calendar, which everybody in our church has if they want one. If you haven't got one yet, there's one in the back of the sanctuary for you, and it's a Advent calendar of good deeds. Sometimes we have Advent calendars of other things too, like candies or little toys or tea bags, things that we like that every single day we get to use or think about, or maybe it's a little reading we could do to help us prepare for Jesus's birth. And not always, but often on Advent calendars, you'll see a picture of the Holy Family. Can you find it in this picture? Well, the Holy Family, like I said, is Mary, Jesus's mother, Joseph, Jesus's father, and the baby Jesus. I like this icon of them because I like how Mary and Joseph have their heads together, and Joseph has his arm around Mary, which looks very tender and protective to me. And then they both have their hands on Jesus, like they're both working to keep Jesus safe and snug inside the loving arms of their family. When I think about the Holy Family, here are some questions I ask. I ask myself, how old were Mary and Joseph? We don't know. The Bible doesn't tell us. Sometimes you'll see pictures of Mary very young, like a young teenager, and Joseph as an old man. I don't think those are accurate. In Jesus's time, about over 2,000 years ago, most of the time, by the time a man was older, he already was married. So it's unlikely that an old man would be marrying a young girl. I wonder, what did they look like? Well, we don't have a description of them, and of course, we don't have photos, but we know that other people from that part of the world have dark brown or black hair and brown eyes and brown skin. So they would have probably looked like that. What did they have in common? What do they talk about? Were they friends? What did they do for fun? I wonder if they had brothers and sisters, and if their brothers and sisters were excited when they found out that Mary and Joseph were going to have a baby because they were going to be aunts and uncles. And I wonder, were they nervous about being parents? What were they worried about? What did they need to know? And what didn't they know? And what did they have to learn? Those are some questions I have about them. Maybe you have other ones too. This is my favorite depiction, right now, anyway, of the Holy Family. And I like it for a couple reasons. I like that Jesus is wiggled out of his diaper. I think that's funny. And that reminds me a lot of how a lot of kids like to play when they're little. I like that he has a little dimple in his behind, in his little cheek there, you can see. I like that the family is reading together. This sculpture is from the 1500s, and I like that Mary is reading a book and she's reading to the whole family. So it's like they're reading as a family. I think that's really nice. And I like that Jesus wants to play instead of read. And look, he wants to play with his dad. He is trying to crawl on Joseph. Sometimes this is how kids play with their parents, right? They like to wrestle and be rough and tumble. And I think he wants to pull on that beard and maybe run his hands, put his little fingers in Joseph's curly beard. I think that is funny, and it really reminds me of how kids and parents play together. So I like that one a lot. I like any of them that show the family being warm and affectionate and having fun. In artwork from Europe, we oftentimes see pictures of Mary wearing blue. That's a color associated with Mary, and that the Holy Family will have halos behind them. You see that here. It's like a gold or yellow ring behind their head. And that indicates, that tells us that they are sacred or special or holy. You can see in this picture too a little house in the background and part of a donkey. cut off. This is from a stained glass window, but you can see there's the ears of a donkey in the side here. But there's lots of ways we can depict Mary and Joseph and baby Jesus. And oftentimes we depict them in ways that are how our culture sees being a mother and being a parent, being a father and being a baby. And so different cultures will give different details about what it was like to be a baby and be a parent in that culture. So this is a depiction of Mary and baby Jesus from a Native American culture and an indigenous culture. And you see here that baby Jesus is on a cradle board. And that is like kind of like a backpack that you would tie the baby into. Not like in a mean way. You'd put them there and then secure them so they didn't fall off. And you could carry them on your back. And so this would be one way that a Native American culture might depict Mary and baby Jesus in a way that made sense for them. Here's one from an Asian culture. I think it's really beautiful. I like how there's a ribbon floating in the back, and I like how baby Jesus's arms are open, like, give me a hug. And I like how he's wearing kind of little slippers. I think that's really beautiful. And he has long hair with a little top knot here, because that's how this culture would have thought about babies and children and motherhood. They look very happy, I think, and content with each other. Here's a depiction of sometimes called the Black Madonna. Madonna is another word for Mary, and this comes from African, African American, Latin American, South American, Haitian cultures, so where people have darker skin. And you can see that here she's wearing a crown. What a wonderful way to think about motherhood. And baby Jesus is wearing a crown too. It tells us that the person who made this artwork and the people who appreciate it would have thought about Mary and baby Jesus like as important as royalty. But like I said, what we know the facts are is that they would have had brown eyes and dark brown or black hair and brown skin. But I think it's okay that when we think about Mary, we think about Mary as what we think is most important and loving about mothers, because Mary loved being a mother, and she was excited to have a baby. And God chose her because she was going to be good at raising a baby, especially because Mary knew that there were a lot of things wrong in the world. She saw that people were hurt. She saw that people hurt each other. And she was disturbed by that. She did not like it. And God knew that she didn't like it. And I think maybe that one reason that God chose Mary to be the mother of Jesus is because he wanted Jesus to be raised in a family where that was important, where they wanted the world to be full of kindness, people treating each other kindly. And so however we imagine Mary, or however we draw Mary or see Mary, I think that's pretty important. Well, you have a depiction of Mary in your paper bag. You might have gotten it last week at church. If not, you can pick it up today. There's a bag for every child in church. If you're not in church today, you can let me know, or have the grown-up in your family know. Let me know, and I will make sure you get it. In our bag as a special gift from Jer in our church. He made a holy family for every family with kids in our congregation. And he made it out of origami, which is a Japanese art of paper folding. And I'd like you to get out your Mary today, and wherever you're going to set up your nativity, probably away from water, I think is a good idea. So not someplace where something can get spilled on it. You can put up your Mary. You can put up your whole nativity scene if you want, or your whole Holy Family if you want, or you can just put up Mary. It's up to you. But we can get out Mary. You'll see a couple things about her. She's blue, because remember I said our Western art, she's often shown as blue, and she's kneeling. You might guess what she is going to be kneeling in front of. It's in your bag too, and you can guess or peek ahead and look at it, or you can look at some other Holy Family depictions or nativity scenes, because it's really common for Mary to be kneeling in the scene. And so this is there from Jer to you. Make sure you say thank you to Jer if you see him. Also, grown-ups in the congregation will be getting a link to a tutorial that Jer made showing people how to make an origami Mary themselves. So if you want to make some more, share it with more friends, you can do that thanks to Jer's hard work. So thank you, Jer. And thank you to all the children who are listening today. We're so grateful you're part of our church.